Good evening, everyone. Today is Wednesday, August 26th. The time is now 6:11 p.m., and we will call this meeting of the Cleveland Community Police Commission to order. To start out, we will start with the roll call. Commissioner Chura,
Present.
Commissioner Coleman.
Present.
Oh, wow, hi. Commissioner Kincaid,
Present.
Commissioner Mason,
Here.
Commissioner Miller,
Present.
Commissioner Morero Bonito,
Present.
Commissioner Nelson,
Present.
Commissioner Rodriguez is not present, Commissioner Ubelson,
Present.
Commissioner Van Leer,
Here.
Commissioner Zayed,
Here.
and Commissioner Adams. I am present, so we have met a quorum of the commission. So the next item on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. Are there any changes that anyone would like to propose for the agenda? If none, no changes. Can we just do a voice, like a unanimous selection of the agenda? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? All right, so the agenda is adopted as presented. I do think, I don't know, do we have, I don't think we have any minutes. Do we have any minutes from that were generated?
I'll check in our SharePoint. We're now keeping our minutes in SharePoint.
Okay, so what we will probably need to do is just, we probably have a backlog of minutes, so we'll probably have to just, for the next meeting, we need to make sure that we have those minutes to send out as early as possible, because we probably have a lot to look at and give commissioners time. So I will, what I'll now read is the meeting decorum regarding meeting disruptions. So this meeting of the Cleveland Community Police Commission is a lawful meeting under section 605.04 of the codified ordinances. No person with purpose to prevent or disrupt a lawful meeting shall do any act which obstructs or interferes with the due conduct of such meeting. The members of the public are invited to speak in accordance with the public comment rules. Disruptions, including but not limited to speaking out of turn and or making out loud utterances, sorry, butchered that, that interferes with the due conduct of this lawful meeting may constitute a misdemeanor in violation of section 605.04. If the meeting is disrupted, I will call for a recess and the room will be cleared. Persons who violate the city ordinances and commit misdemeanors may be subject to prosecution. When this body is able to return from recess, then in compliance with Ohio Open Meeting Act and section 101.021 of the codified ordinances, the meeting will be open to the public. And so now, the next item on the agenda will be public comment. And we will start with Terry Wong.
So I'm former Commissioner Terry Wong. I appreciate your adherence to Ohio Open Meetings Act. Unfortunately, you are not in accordance with any of your meeting notices. There are minutes that should be published. We don't see any minutes, and you have tried to lock me and other people out of public meetings. Law Director Griffin has written emails to you to stop this, and you will not stop this because I think the whole public knows what you are doing behind closed doors. and some of the stuff that you're doing behind closed doors. I'm glad that Mr. Pastor Aaron Phillips is here, because I hope you guys read the news, since you should be attuned to what is happening in Cleveland. But on July 19th, even the Plain Dealer had to publish an article about Aaron Phillips, alleging that he is a... I'm being interrupted.
Okay, so I'm just going
Aaron
to pause
Phillips.
this for, we have to allow people to,
So I need
to make
more
a public
time,
comment,
because
and
it's-
so I've stopped the time. We have to allow her to finish her public comment, but if you would like to make another public comment, you can, but we have to allow her to.
Aaron Phillips, as I'm
We have
sorry,
to allow
I
her
have
to,
to.
because your time has not been continued, but we have to allow her to make her public comment. It's her right.
So have you? Why don't we start all over again?
No.
Aaron Phillips, well, I'm just going to keep talking then. Aaron Phillips, as most people who know in Cleveland who have a background, Aaron Phillips was a lawyer at one point. He had his law license revoked for accepting money in exchange for fixing cases when he was working in East Cleveland. I'm sure Judge Nelson knows all about that, because he is a longtime person, an observer of the law judicial system. Now, Aaron Phillips was reported by the Plain Dealer of having received 7 $2,500 payments by Mayor Bibb, and now he is continuing to represent or purport to represent the Eastside Black pastors and support Flock. What the public may not know is that Aaron Phillips also has received, if you guys approve today, the grants, $100,000 through the commission. $100,000 for 3 grants. I've never seen these grants. Even when I was a commissioner, I was not allowed to read them. And what is this grant for? It's supposed to be for violence, interruption, mediation, things like that. But Aaron Phillips is using his grants purportedly for a busing program for about 20 people. I'm not really sure, because I can't even get the public records request for his grant application. So $1 million in public money has been moved 3 times without open and transparent process. You guys are apparently not even opening the process for 2025 for new grantees to even apply. You guys are stabbing them while giving $118,000 to the United Black Fund to manage your grants. And the United Black Fund's CEO, Cecil, has left under unceremonious circumstances. The second thing I want to talk to you about is that there apparently is a surveillance tech work group. Is that correct, Mr. Van Leer? And citizens who oppose Flock, citizens who oppose surveillance, have been barred from that group. You have a person that, is trying from Surge, attempting to ban Flock, but that is not going to be sufficient.
Thank you. That's time.
This person has
Thank you for
never
your
worked
comment.
on surveillance tech. So,
That's
Mr.
time. Thank
Van
you for your
Leer,
comment.
do you intend to
Thank you for your comment.
open the work group
Thank-
for the community? Open the work group for the community.
Okay,
Does
so
not
the
have Flock.
the time is up.
Oh, ooh.
The next in
You
the
are
next
one
public comment
allowed the surveillance
is
and police state to start.
the second public comment is pass.
And you are getting money here. Take-
Okay.
I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. Okay,
Please get out.
okay, what are you gonna do, Aaron? What are you
Officers,
gonna do?
officers
I
need
want
to
you to go back to
intervene.
Denver and calm the people there.
Officers need to
No,
intervene.
no, then go ahead. Go talk to Mark
Mr. Starr
Zuckerberg.
said, are you a citizen of America?
Oh, does that matter if I'm a citizen of the United
Yeah, it
States?
does.
Are you a racist?
All right, so I would like to say that Ms. Wong, you are currently interrupting the meeting. You are disrupting the meeting. I have to issue the warning first. All right. This meeting's business has been disrupted. I call the meeting to order. Please refrain from disrupting this lawful meeting, speaking out of turn and or making loud utterances that interferes with the due conduct of this meeting. This is a warning that such activity in violation of the codified ordinances and must stop. Okay.
Adjourn the meeting. Mr. Chairman. Mr.
All right.
Chairman,
So
Mr.
this
Chairman,
meeting cannot continue
to the
with
chairman.
its business due to the disruption As a result, I move that we recess the meeting. I move that we move to recess until disruption has concluded. All in favor? Aye. The I ask that the public and those engaging in the disruption, except for media, clear the room. Please.
Serena.
Thank you.
You guys,
You recording? We up? Don't tell me we was up that whole time.
They rich shit down.
I don't blame them. Me too. Thank you.
the meeting can then the meeting. Okay, sorry. The recess the recess has ended, and the meeting will come to order.
Confusion.
All right. No. So we're back, and then we.
Can you bring the public back?
Okay. So who needs to absolutely has to deal with the court?
Me.
Will someone let Shelly know that the meeting is restarting?
Can whoever just she out there though?
She's in her office.
Shelly's in there?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Tell them to start.
I apologize. I thought she fast. Who's screaming? Pastor Phillips sound like a woman.
I think I'm gonna skip the culture report and stuff just to get.
Yeah,
Just to get
Can we do it Monday?
yeah. Just go, we go straight to Chandra, then Ted and.
Sean Pete,
Oh,
but I don't know if they want to do that.
Yeah, let him do it. He sat here for it.
To who?
Pastor Phillips.
He arguing with who?
Shelley, we're gonna skip over the reports and go straight to the, yeah.
She is. Hey, guess what? I just let you know.
Oh, yes, thank you. For the fair warning.
All right. So while while the commission is convening, I'm going to call on Commissioner Benito and then Commissioner Kincaid.
I'm going to yield to Commissioner Kincaid first.
Hello, everyone. On behalf of my fellow commissioners, I want to sincerely apologize for the delay and the disruption in this meeting. I want to say very directly that this disruption is the same disruption that this commission has been facing since its conception. Before I ever sat in this seat as a commissioner, this disruption, Terry Wong, has existed, and the city has done nothing to support us in stopping this disruption from derailing the work that we are attempting to do. We cannot get the work done if we are going to have people like Ms. Wong who come here making accusations not only of us but of other members of the public, slandering people, defaming people, and then just refusing to yield her time to allow us to continue our work. We are asking for the city to support us in stopping this from being an issue so that we can actually get the work done that you have charged us all with doing. We have all been harassed. Some of our jobs have been called, all by one individual person. Our jobs have been visited or called. We have been recorded. We have been aggressed. All of this laundry list of things has occurred to us, and we have received little to no support. So we are formally and officially asking. We will continue to show up to attempt to do our work, but we will be more vigilant in getting footage of our own and putting these disruptions out there so that the public can see them and can see what we're actually up against. No other community member. Everybody has a lot of feelings. We understand that this work is very deeply important to a lot of people, including all of us who sacrifice our time. We are practically volunteers. This work is very important. It is important to us, but we cannot do it under these conditions. And with that, I will yield.
Commissioner Benito?
Thank you to my colleague, Commissioner Kincaid. I completely agree with everything that you just said. So, on behalf of the Accountability Committee, I want to go over some of the things that we have been working on. We have a special meeting scheduled for Monday to discuss and hopefully pass some items. So we wanted to take time in this meeting to review it a little bit and see if there were any questions from commissioners so that we can come into our special meeting on Monday ready to address them. So kind of a brief overview, there's 3 things that are currently being reviewed in collaboration between the Accountability Committee, the Rules Committee, and the Policy Committee. Commissioner Van Leer is going to talk a little bit about the Corrective Action GPO, but the 3 items are a collaborative discipline review process, which is a process through which CDP would be required to send discipline prior to it being enacted to the commission for us to review it and then also offer feedback and then potentially move something to evidentiary hearing if we are not able to come to resolution on what the proposed discipline should be. And so we have an internal rule which will govern our internal process for what that process looks like. That is called the Collaborative Discipline Review Process. Then you have the Evidentiary Hearing Manual. That we have seen several iterations. It's being updated to make sure that it's congruent with the other documents. And then the third is the Corrective Action Policy. The Corrective Action Policy is the CDP's, the police's discipline policy. So the policy that outlines what the infractions are that officers can be disciplined for, what levels that discipline is, what the discipline should be given, and also the procedure through which officers receive discipline. So the procedure that would govern how they interact with discipline, which it includes this new process that we are implementing in which they would collaborate with us, is housed within the Corrective Action Policy. And then our internal process that governs our process through which we move through that is the Collaborative Discipline Review Process. In order for the community to have a little bit of an idea of what this process that we have proposed is, and also to give the commissioners all the opportunity to hear it and ask any questions. How this will work is we would get involved, and this is for cases that both come through CPRB in OPS and through internal affairs. So in both cases, once a charge letter is given by CDP, then in this rule and also in the corrective action policy, we must be, for all cases, must be sent the full investigative file, the charging letter, the officer's disciplinary history for the preceding 3 years, and any aggravating or mitigating factors identified. Those materials for all levels of cases then will allow us to receive records immediately instead of us having to request records after the fact and then go through a process in which we have seen historically cause a lot of delays. So that is the first step. Then there's a pre-disciplinary hearing. This is a normal discipline process that it has always been. And within 72 hours of that pre-disciplinary hearing, then CDP will send us the complete transcript of the hearing and any additional evidence submitted by the officer or officer's representative. We then also have put in that the Black Shield, the FOP, CPPA, which are the 2 unions that CDP members are parts of, and then also the orders in police organizations, the Black Shield, the Hispanic Police Officers Association. Also, all 4 of those groups are able to submit in writing written recommendations or statements to CPC and also the chief about the issues of fairness and consistency in the discipline of those potential cases. So we would have that, and we would be able to consider that in the review of discipline. At that point in the process, a draft disposition letter is created. And this is the draft discipline that the chief or the public safety director are saying, based on all the evidence from the investigation, based on the pre-disciplinary hearing, this is the discipline that we are giving. It includes a finding on each charge, whether the officer is being determined as guilty or not guilty. Then determining what the group level for each of those charges is, what the discipline that's being proposed is, a brief explanation of how aggravating and mitigating factors were weighed, and what the discipline should be, and and also we've asked them to include any stated basis for the departure from that range. For groups, disciplines that are in Group 3 and Group 4, so for folks who might not remember, the new disciplinary matrix has 4 different groups of discipline charges. And so what we are saying is for Group 3 and Group 4 cases, that those disciplines must be sent, the draft disposition letter must be sent to the accountability committee to review it and engage in what we're calling the collaborative discipline review process. We have also, upon great feedback from the accountability committee, have also put in there that CPC has the ability after a pre-disciplinary hearing to say for any group, any other cases that are not Group 3 or Group 4, we can say this case is of special interest, and therefore we are moving this case through the pre-disciplinary, through the collaborative discipline review process. So just for clarification, all Group 3 and Group 4 cases, and then any other cases that are identified, we would have, we would need to let CDP know within 7 days of the hearing, and then we would move that case through the disciplinary review process. The first step in that review process is that the chief or public safety director has 21 days from the conclusion of the hearing to write that pre-disciplinary draft disposition letter that I just discussed, and then the accountability committee will have 1 week from the receipt of that letter to meet. Our staff will put together a memo evaluating that discipline against the corrective action policy to determine whether it fits within the matrix and it is fair and consistent with what the discipline policy is. One thing that I kind of want to name is that in going through this process, what the CPC is trying to do is just make sure that the discipline that is being given is congruent with the discipline policy. So that is the that is the standard that we are reviewing these discipline letters against, is are they congruent with CDP's own disciplinary policy? So we would review the memo that was provided to us from staff, and we would have a vote to decide whether to approve the discipline as it was sent to us, to say, hey, this is consistent with the disciplinary policy, or if we do not believe that is consistent with the disciplinary policy, at that point, we would submit what's called a request for reconsideration. And that, along with the staff, would help us compose a letter to the chief that would say, basically, these are our concerns with the discipline that was proposed. This is how we do not believe that it is in congruence with the discipline policy, and what we think what the appropriate discipline level should be. After they receive the request for reconsideration, they have 7 days to then send us either a revised draft disposition letter that modifies the proposed discipline, or issue a written explanation stating why they're declining to change the proposed discipline. At that point, the Accountability Committee will have 7 days to meet to review the response by CDP. And at that point, the committee can either accept the letter, the amended discipline, and say we think that is good to go. At any point in the process, if the Accountability Committee accepts the discipline and votes to approve it, at that point, the CDP is given the go-ahead to issue the discipline. If the committee decides that the response that we received from CDP is not adequate, at that point, we would move the case to an evidentiary hearing. And that is the same process that we have already engaged in before, and that is listed out in the evidentiary hearing manual. Now, there's one other step, is if the committee were to, we had already said to CDP, we don't believe this is congruent with the discipline policy, we want you to reconsider it, and they respond and say, we are not changing this. At that point, if we accept that, for whatever reason, maybe we find the written explanation of CDP to be sufficient. If we vote to approve an unamended discipline that we had already raised issues with, it will come back to the full commission to review, and to have them either approve the discipline as the Accountability Committee approved it, or send that case to an evidentiary hearing, at which point it goes into the evidentiary hearing process. And then if they approve it the same way the Accountability Committee approved it, it goes straight back to CDP and they can issue the discipline. So that is a review of the process. I sent this internal policy to the full commission earlier last week, or I think, yeah, last week. I'm happy to take any questions or any comment on this, but I just wanted to make sure that we were all kind of on the same page about this. We are currently giving stakeholders a few more days to provide comments, and they have until Friday, and then we are hoping to move forward with a vote on this on Monday. So that's why I wanted to make sure that we talked all the way through this, and take any questions and any comments so that we can be prepared to vote on this on Monday. Yeah, go ahead.
Through the chair to Commissioner Benito, I just want to, just for my clarification, there was one additional step that I was kind of unaware of. You said that there is a new step where if there is discipline imposed by the Chief or Safety Director that we didn't necessarily agree with, we can go ahead and amend our stance on it to go ahead and accept it anyway. That's
Yes. So if Oh, yeah, no. So if, let's say, we issued a request for reconsideration, which meant that we did not believe at that time that the discipline that was proposed is congruent with the corrective action policy, if at that time they come back with a written response, and then we say, okay, we are okay with accepting that discipline, at that point, the committee could vote to accept that discipline. At that point, though, it would go to a full commission meeting for final approval. So, and then the full commission could either agree with it, agree with the decision of the Accountability Committee, and at that point it would go to the Chief or Public Safety Director to issue the discipline, or the full commission could vote to reject that and it would be sent to an evidentiary hearing. Thank you.
Any other questions from anyone? No? All right. Well, thank you, Commissioner Benito, for that. And then I think next we're going to pass the floor to Commissioner Vandler.
So, yeah, we just have very much aligned with what Commissioner Benito has been talking about, Commissioner Maria Benito. We have the corrective action general police order. So, as you may or may not be aware, we've actually passed a version of this a few times already. In 2024, before some of you were on the commission, again in November of 2025, and in February of 2026. And each time, particularly the last two times, we've gotten some comments from the monitoring team or the DOJ and from the division, and in our effort to make sure that we're doing something that's actionable and that can be put into operation as effectively as possible, we've gone back and sort of taken comments and trying to get more feedback to make sure it's as good as it can be. There are still, in this document, which I sent out, I think, a week ago to all of you, and I know some of you have had a chance to review it, there are still areas of disagreement with the division, particularly around the creation of a non-discipline corrective action category, and the division has not been thrilled with that, but there's also, and that's one area. Other things have been, sometimes they want to have more of a range, they want to have more discretion, and one of the main goals of this policy, as we've written it, this draft, has been to reduce discretion. There's still ranges in there, there's still mitigating, aggravating factors in most of the categories, and that's been kind of a sticking point and a back and forth with them in that conversation with the policy committee, with the division's policy unit. So it's not like we've come to a 100% agreement on everything, but we are committed to not only working collaboratively with them, but also to exercising our authority on this and other issues. I think those are the high level things where there isn't necessarily agreement. We've worked around, and again, thanks to Commissioner Moreira Benito and Commissioner Coleman, doing our process and making sure it's aligned. And our goal with this has been, because I think there was some concern when we passed it before around the length of time that it would take to do this. So we've tried to really work ourselves into the process earlier so that we're not getting to this a year or two later and trying to change the discipline, but we want to be on the front end. So that's really what all of this together, I think that's really the main thrust of the work we've done over the past several months is. Am I missing anything? I'm looking through my notes here. And there's other smaller tweaks, and I think at one point, the division had said, they didn't like non-discipline violations, so we changed it to, their suggestion was administrative violations, but then it turned out that everything is an administrative violation, so we changed it back to non-discipline violations. So there's that kind of back and forth. One of the non-discipline violation, one of that group level of non-discipline violations was being tardy, and we'd had up to 3 tardies a quarter, and the division was concerned about that, so we reduced to 1 because we're trying to really understand where they're coming from, but also stick to what we know from our conversations, from one of the main authors of this, who was a former police officer and a former commissioner, and then in the conversations with folks. And the fairness and consistency piece has also been essential. We had the idea of having a commission that we review discipline in a double-blind process, but that felt unwieldy, so we've now created another way to approach the fairness and discipline, the fairness and consistency piece, to make sure that there is consistency and fairness, because what we've heard is that there a lack of fairness, lack of consistency based on who you know, or racial inequities in there. So I think that's pretty much it. And again, if there are specific questions, I hope you all had a chance to look at it. We are in the process of we want to work through some things with the law department Not sure what timeline that will be, but we're hoping to, we have shared this with both the FOP and the CPPA, the two unions. We have not gotten comments from them, but there are concerns around whether this would go against the collective bargaining agreements, so that's something we'll have to confront when that happens, if that happens. So,
I'll just add to that. We've discussed several times in the last several months. We do believe that there is a potential conflict between the collective bargaining agreement and the charter, and so we, that conflict is likely going to play out through the adoption of these procedures, and we will just kind of have to see how that plays out. But what we are committed to is following the authority that has been given to us in the charter, which mandates that we are the final authority on police discipline and police policy. And so we are prepared to defend that authority, and we will always approach CDP, the unions, and other stakeholders collaboratively. We want to hear the experts and what they're seeing on the road. Our officers are the experts in what the reality is for policing in Cleveland, and so we always want to hear what they have to say. We always want them to feel like they can come to us to advocate to what they believe is right for the officers. But in addition to protecting and serving our officers, we also have a duty to represent and protect and serve the community. And so there are times that we will not always, through a collaborative process, as we have engaged with them with this discipline process, with the corrective action policy, even when we come to the table many times and hear them out and make changes based on their suggestions, there are going to be times that we don't come to a full agreement, and that's okay. But that is where our authority begins, and why we have to stick to that. And so, even though we recognize that there may be concerns that the unions are raising regarding the collective bargaining agreement, the CPC is not mentioned in the collective bargaining agreement. And yet we have this authority, and we are here, and we have been here, and we are committed as a commission to standing up for that authority and fighting for that. And so I just wanted to add that.
Thank you. Any additions, questions, concerns from anyone?
So I would just encourage y'all, we're going to vote on this, plans to vote this out of committee on Monday, and we have a special meeting right before the special full commission meeting. If anybody has questions, feel free to reach out to me or to Commissioner Maria Benito or Commissioner Coleman. Happy to answer any questions or concerns you may have.
All right, so I just want to say really big shout out to Commissioners Van Leer and Maria Benito and Coleman, because this has been going on for a really long time. And even when we felt like we were closer, then there seems to be a few more things thrown into the mix that we couldn't foresee, and you guys have really taken it at this last point, and really worked together to address some really difficult challenges and make some hard decisions, and standing your ground when you feel like it was what was best that was needed for the commission. So I just want to just commend those three commissioners, because it was not easy. Go to Commissioner Kincaid.
Through the chair, just to second that, I also want to point this out as a very good example of, I think, what we're referring to when we often talk about process, right? That there are so many things that we as a commission want to get done, and the way that we want to represent our communities, but bureaucracy is a real thing. Process is a real thing. A lot of this stuff, my colleagues have sat through hours of meetings. They have spent hours and hours of their personal time rewriting, revising, rereading, sending back and forth, waiting on us to read, respond to. These things are not things that happen in a vacuum, and they will never happen overnight. These things take time, and they require process. And so this is a beautiful example, in my opinion, of my colleagues following the process and sticking with it and actually getting something done. And now we have something that is real and applicable to vote on. This is the work. And a lot of the work happens behind the scenes, not necessarily the things that you see in the meeting, but we give a lot of our time to get these things done. And I want to point that out again, just as a follow-up, to my earlier rant. But genuinely, because this is the work and we are doing our best. And I have to say that. And thank you. And Tara Coleman, I know you're out there watching. Thank you.
And I just want to echo the same sentiment of everyone. You guys have done a beautiful job of collaborative work, and not just amongst the commissioners, but also with CDP. And so this is what it looks like to work collaboratively and then get the work done. So thank you. You guys
So
have done a beautiful
one more
job.
comment sorry to cut you off. One more comment from Commissioner Benito, and I think we need to move on to the last item of business, which will be Commissioner Miller.
Thank you for all the kind words. I also wanted to shout out the staff. Yes. So our executive director, our assistant director, and our new policy analyst, Claire Foley, who jumped in on meetings on this on her very first day, and has, we are very lucky to have the support of our staff, and I'm very excited about what the work can look like as we have gotten our staff bolstered, and so I just wanted to also give them their flowers.
Yeah, Commissioner Van Leer.
This reminds me of another policy committee update around the surveillance tech work group, which has met a couple of times now. Again, it is an open meeting for anybody who wants to join and be productive in discourse. And we've had some good conversation. What made me think of it is I want to shout out Claire Foley, policy analyst Claire Foley, for the work she's been doing to support that. We're looking at Fusus and other surveillance tech tools that are used by the division. And we've got the group has grown, since this summer it's met a couple times and hadn't met in a while, and we're sort of like bringing some new people in, so it's been very encouraging. And I just appreciate Ms. Foley's work on that.
And if I could, through the chair, just because Commissioner Van Leer has mentioned Claire Foley, no one knows who she is. She's a new staff member. And so, so I wanted to introduce, that was part of the executive director's report, to introduce Claire Foley as our new senior policy and research analyst. She's been with us for 3 weeks, and it seems almost like 3 years. She has done a fantastic job, and I just wanted to say, let her say a few words.
Thank you so much for the introduction and the warm welcome. This is my 4th week, and so far I've begun work on the surveillance technologies work group. I'm also working hard on wrangling our discipline data so that we can begin analyzing it and understanding what's going on and how we can impact it. So looking forward to working with you all, and thanks for the warm welcome again.
Alrighty, so we will move on to Commissioner Miller and the training committee.
All right, everyone. We do have a few things, but I'm going to save 2 things for Monday when we have our special commission meeting, because I would love everyone to hear it. So 3 things tonight. I want to provide an update on the work underway regarding the commander selection process and the inspector general selection process, as well as provide some context around why the CPC is involved in this work. First, our involvement is not about stepping into someone else's role. This is a part of responsibility assigned to the CPC under the Charter 115.5, which specifically charges the Commission with interviewing and recommending candidates for police commander and inspector general to the mayor. Our goal is to carry out that responsibility thoroughly, fairly, transparently, and with community at the center of the process. So specifically for the commander update, we have made progress. We have begun conducting interviews for the district commander positions. The next phase of our work is to identify appropriate locations to begin planning public forums that will allow the community to hear from and engage with commander candidates. I believe that that piece is extremely important. Commanders are not simply administrative leaders within the CDP. They are leaders within our neighborhoods. The community should have an opportunity to hear how candidates view leadership, accountability, community engagement, officer development, public safety, and specific needs of the district they may serve. The ultimate goal is not to complete a process. The goal is to make informed recommendations and individuals, who are prepared to lead effectively, who understand both the division and the communities they serve. Next, we want to move to the stakeholders, bringing stakeholders to the table. We want to be transparent that there are many moving parts and different expectations surrounding this process. The CPC has this charter responsibility. The CDP has operational knowledge and experience. The mayor's office, the PAC team, Department of Public Safety, the police associations, labor representatives, including FOP, and other stakeholders bring perspectives that may also be valuable to this work. Rather than allowing those different roles and expectations to become barriers, I would like us to explore how we can bring everyone to the table and move forward together in a productive way while maintaining the integrity and independence of the CPC's responsibilities and keeping the community at center. Collaboration does not require us to give up our responsibility. Likewise, exercising our authority does not require us to exclude others. There's room for both. I believe we can create a process where appropriate stakeholders have an opportunity to provide insight, expertise, while the CPC continues to fulfill the responsibilities specifically assigned to it under the charter. Moving on to Inspector General process. We are also moving along with the Inspector General selection process. We have begun setting up the interview process and currently finalizing the structure and logistics. There are 44 applicants, so this requires significant coordination and commitment. All interviews must be concluded by September the 10th, which gives us a very tight timeline. Again, Charter 115.5 specifically includes that the Inspector General within our responsibility to interview and recommend candidates to the mayor. Because of the importance of the Inspector General's role, the police accountability and oversight, we need to make sure that even with the They need to swap batteries. I'll pause for.
Are we ready?
No.
Nope. Okay, so let me tell you a little anecdote real quick on the way. There's been a beeping from my neighbor's house. They're out of town. Something on their alarm system is just beeping, right? I did not hear it. Brian has been complaining about this beeping for 3 nights. He's like, you don't hear that beep? And I'm like, no, I hear it. Okay. He takes me downstairs on the front porch yesterday. He said, be quiet. Listen. And I hear this beeping. I said, oh, and now I can't unhear it. Now I hear it all the time. As soon as I walk in my house, first thing I hear is beep, beep. I said, God dog it. I would have been perfect if I.
Yes. All right. Thank you for the intermission.
See?
We appreciate that.
See?
Okay, we are back rolling. So, because of the importance of the Inspector General's role of police accountability and oversight, we need to make sure that even with the compressed timeline, the process remains organized, consistent, and meaningful. Where we are going. With both processes, we would like for us to remain focused on a few principles. Of course, fairness, transparency, consistency, integrity, collaboration, community. Some of these positions have remained interim for the significant period of time. This process began before my term on the commission, and I believe we owe it to the individuals serving in the interim capacities and the CDP personnel and administration and the residents that we move forward with this work. At this time, moving quickly cannot mean compromising the integrity of the process. We need clear criteria, consistent interviews, and we need appropriate stakeholder input. We need community participation, whether we're equitable, and ultimately, we need recommendations that we can stand behind and explain, clearly explain. There may be disagreements along the way. There may be different interpretations of what this process should look like. That is exactly why communication and collaboration are important. My hope is that we do not approach this a CPC versus CDP or the other acronyms, or vice versa, or the stakeholders. But there should be, how can we each bring what we are responsible for to the table, build the strongest process possible while respecting the authority and responsibility given to the CPC by the people of Cleveland. If we can accomplish that, then we are not fulfilling our positions. We are establishing a fair, transparent, and repeatable process that can serve Cleveland beyond the particular group of candidates and beyond our individual terms in the commission. This is the stand we hope that we can work together. Another thing I would like to say about the 2026 dispatch training that needs to be approved. You all have it in your emails now. I would love for you to go over it so that way we can bring it to the special commission on Monday and hopefully take it to the full commission to see if we can get it approved. Have a great night. Thanks for watching.
All right, so thank you, Commissioner Miller. Just one last thing. I know that we had a detour today, but I would like to at least give the community members that stayed, that signed up for public comment, an opportunity to have their public comment if they would like to do so still. So if you signed up for public comment and you would like to, I just want to give you the opportunity because they're still here.
Well, thanks for making the extra time. My name is Rob Loftus. I am with Showing Up for Racial Justice, Northeast Ohio. We were part of the group that worked to get this commission established. We did the door-to-door canvassing for issue 24 in Old Brooklyn. And we are still here, Jennifer and I, in order to ensure that the commission does the work that we intended it to do. And so I was really pleased when Commissioner Maria Benito, said that they're standing by the city charter and saying that this commission has the final say in discipline. That is what we wanted. What we want to be able to see is for a corrupt or bad police officer to be disciplined and not have that overruled by the union, the director of public safety, or anything like that. Also, I've attended a couple of Commissioner Van Leer's meetings on police surveillance, and I do want to state that, well, I think I can say this for our group. We do not think that there are effective guardrails that could be put in place for Flock or other surveillance systems similar, including Axon products, including Fusus, honestly, that these systems are too complex, and in their design they are meant to make information accessible. It's just not possible to turn a little switch and say, oh, now ICE can't see the data. Oh, now the Texas police departments can't see the data. There are too many paths in. The level of surveillance that comes when all of that data is centralized is a Fourth Amendment violation. I'll be quiet now, but thank you very much for giving me the chance to speak.
I just second what Rob said, so he covered all the points I was thinking. Thanks.
All right. And I think with that, the meeting is adjourned. Do we have to vote to adjourn? All right. To vote to.
That's what Tara told us.
All right. So, all right. Yeah. All right. So take a vote. So all of. Do we want to?
We should wait for everyone else. I think we should wait for Tara.
I would like to do it today, but I think too many people.
very long. But I think we should wait.
I think you should wait.
Okay, but okay, we're gonna let the. Okay. All right. So. Go ahead.
Make a motion to go into executive session briefly to discuss matters concerning proposed changes to police disciplinary matrix and procedures, related collective bargaining matters, and the city's rights and obligations under relevant collective bargaining agreements and applicable labor law. It shouldn't take long.
I'll second.
You have to vote.
Oh.
Unless you could ask questions.
What we would need to do is we need a second,
I
and then
second.
once we get a second, and now we can have a discussion.
Yeah.
And whatever you would like to ask, you can ask
Yes.
Okay, I was wondering, should we let the public go so when we're done with the sessions, we don't have to?
Well, once we go into session,
now.
yeah,
They're free.
we'll just adjourn right after.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I second.
Okay. Any other questions?
All right. So no any discussion. All right. So so I would say I'm just gonna go down the line. Commissioner Mason.
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Miller.
Yes.
Commissioner Zayed.
Yes.
Commissioner Van Leer.
Yes.
Commissioner Morero Bonito.
Yes.
Commissioner Umason.
Yes.
Commissioner Kincaid.
Yeah.
And I, Commissioner Adams, vote yes as well. So the commission is now in executive session. Alrighty, so we're gonna vote to reconvene out of executive session. So can someone make a motion to?
I move to end executive session.
All right. Any discussion? No. So I think we can just take a simple vote. All in favor? I know, right? All in favor? Any nays? Any abstentions? So we've officially returned from executive session, and now we will formally adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much to the public, and everybody have a good night.